JBNN keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones. Before we get into the news, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share the news with someone today. Now onto the news. Police move to diffuse political tension in sections of the corporate area. The police are moving to diffuse political tension in parts of the corporate area following the vandalism of campaign posters belonging to candidates from both major political parties. Assistant Commissioner of Police Michael Phipps, commanding officer for Area 4, says a series of meetings have been scheduled with the candidates in the coming days. ACP Phipps said the police high command is concerned about growing political tension in some communities as campaigning heats up ahead of the general election.
We are appealing to them to conduct all their political activities in an atmosphere that engenders peace and goodwill. We have been getting complaints from some representatives regarding removal of and the destruction of posters, etc. We propose to do very early intervention in order to prevent potential conflicts within the constituencies across Area 4. My divisional commanders have been instructed to look out for early warning signs and to take corrective actions around these situations that usually give rise to political conflicts. We have had good responses and so far have had one meeting with Member of Parliament Mr. Donovan Williams of the JLP and Mr. Steve McGregor of the PNP, both reps for Central Kingston constituency. This meeting, I believe, was very cordial and I think went very well, where both gentlemen pledged to ensure that both camps will conduct their political activities in an atmosphere of peace and goodwill, and at the same time implore their supporters to do everything to maintain a peaceful election campaign. I want to remind all our political representatives that words and actions have power to shape the tone of the campaign.
Man fatally shot in Miketown, Manchester. A man was gunned down in Miketown, Manchester last night. The deceased has been identified as Ricardo Henry, 35, a construction worker otherwise called Matic, of Love Lane in the parish and the Spanish town St. Catherine. According to reports, about 10:59 p.m., Henry was in the area when explosions were heard, checks were made, and Henry was found with what appeared to be gunshot wounds. He was assisted to the Mandeville Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The Mandeville Criminal Investigation Branch is conducting a probe into the matter. 7 murders recorded nationally in 24 hours. The police are reporting 7 murders across 6 police divisions in the 24 hours between 6 a.m. on Wednesday and midday Thursday, July 10. Figures show 1 murder in St. Mary, 1 in Westmoreland, 1 in Manchester, 1 in Kingston Eastern, 1 in St. Anne, and 2 in St. Andrew South. The police say between January 1 and midday July 10, there were 364 homicides. For the corresponding period in 2024, there were 612 homicides. That's a decline of 248 murders, or 41%. Gun and ammo seized in St. Catherine and Clarendon. Several rounds of ammunition and 1 gun were seized in operations across Clarendon and St. Catherine on Wednesday. The Clarendon police first found 18.38 cartridges and a magazine containing 9.380 cartridges at a premises in Swansea for parts in the parish about midday. The ammunition was reportedly found in a plastic bag along a perimeter fence. Around 1 p.m., the Maypen police recovered 1 Glock 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 14 9mm cartridges during an operation in Severn Ground, Crofts-Hill, Clarendon. Then in St. Catherine, about 2:59 p.m., police seized 50.22 cartridges and 4.3 cartridges following an operation on 2nd Avenue, Central Village in the parish. The ammunition was found at the back of the premises in a pallet wrapped in a plastic latex glove. No one is arrested in connection with any of the seizures. Carpenter charged after allegedly pulling gun on cop in Manchester. A Manchester carpenter has been charged after allegedly pulling a gun on police who responded to a community alert on Saturday. 45-year-old Fitzroy Blake, otherwise called Rasta, of Finegrass District, is facing charges of possession of prohibited weapon and assault of common law. Reports from the Mandeville police are that around 3:30 p.m., officers were on patrol in the area when residents raised concern about a man walking with what appeared to be a gun. On arrival, Blake reportedly pulled a weapon from his waistband. The police, in fear for their lives, engaged him and he was shot and injured, as statement alleged. He was taken to hospital for treatment. Blake was charged on Wednesday. Relatives of mummified woman say his family was not uncaring. Undergoing scrutiny, the family of Viola Destin, the elderly woman found in a mummified state in Holdope, Little London, Westmoreland, has rejected claims of neglect. This, as questions swirl over how none of her relatives realized the full extent of her isolation, as the police said Destin died nearly 2 years ago on December 10, 2023. But instead of reporting the death, Destin's living caregiver, 54-year-old Gina Robinson, concealed the body inside a room at the house. A relative of Destin summoned the police on July 6 after becoming suspicious. Destin's decomposed remains were seen lying on a mattress. Her brother, Artley Destin, sought to explain that there were no major red flags to indicate that something was amiss. He said he saw the caregiver on one occasion and cried about his sister, but the woman told him, "Don't worry yourself, man. Your sister in a good hands."
Can't feel good about, I'm used to take care of her, and he tell me, say, in crumble and he reach us up on his stick, taking taxi and things like that. So while down there Sunday beg, he see two lady, and he beg them. So he say, the girls come to check him, he want to see me. So me go around in the morning, he say, he meet one girl I serve, they beg and he say, he know me. He tell me, say, the girl them give him some grocery, and he visit him. So by visiting him, them say, he live too far from Old Hope. So the woman which father take care of him, is like, say, well then, he better them take him and carry him at Old Hope. Me have another sister, Ella, when she want to me. So tell him to question them. So then tell him, say, they know in no argument with him. So then hurry up and move her to Old Hope. So after they move her to Old Hope, it's like, me they see her and me they ask her, I say, what happened to my sister? Him say, no worry yourself, man, the sister in a good hands. Me say, you sure? He say, yes.
Meanwhile, a niece of Destin has also dismissed suggestions that the family failed to realize she had died as they were uncaring. The woman said they heard rumors a year ago that 70-year-old Destin had died, but after checks with the local hospital and funeral homes, they had been unable to confirm that information.
Nothing like that, but the family abandoned her. No, she just pick up herself and leave. Because the one at the time when we hear say, she's dead. And even the daughter will come to girl, that's why other family tell me, ask her if I choose their mother dead. And she said to me, so she dey here. She don't know if I choose. She even go to the test of going to dialysis, going to Honeygan, over hospital and go to infirmary.
According to the woman, Destin had experienced mental issues while going through menopause and as a result, lived with various family members on different occasions. However, she was unable to say how her grand-aunt ended up with a caregiver in Old Hope. Robinson has been described as a calm, no-nonsense spiritual woman who loved to feed children. Word of the discovery of Destin's mummified body has sent shockwaves throughout her community, including among Robinson's relatives. One man who said he's related to her told of the sense of shame he feels. He was unwilling to provide his name for the record. She lived in the district for so long and had that very genuine behavior, he said. What went down? We're not sure because they're still investigating. But to be honest, knowing that I'm from the district and it is painted all over the country right now, before you tell people say I come from here, it has left such a bad reputation on us. He said that his voice quivered with emotion. He struggled to come to grips with the grisly discovery. Away from that, it does happen. We have to accept that it happened. This is real. Everybody was thinking that this is impossible, but it's real. What I want to know now is how the lady died, he stated. According to him, he never saw Destin at Robinson's home. The only people me see there were two young ladies who come and worship with her. When she's worshiping, it is something to talk about. Sometimes they run around the house and make a whole heap of noise, he said. Robinson is facing the charges of failure to report the death of a person, preventing the lawful burial of a corpse, and attempting to pervert the course of justice. It is understood that Destin is originally from Sheffield, Negril, was a resident of Holdope, who is also a member of Destin's church family, believes the criticism against the woman's relatives is misplaced. In defending the family, she insisted that they did not abandon their relative. Teachers going restive over slow pace of salary talks. There is growing frustration among some educators this summer as the Jamaica Teachers Association JTA warns that its members are becoming increasingly restive. JTA President Dr. Mark Smith says yet another school term has ended without any resolution to long-standing salary and benefits negotiations. Dr. Smith is calling for the relevant stakeholders to move swiftly to address the ongoing friction, particularly issues related to compensation and the pension support for retirees. He says progress has been far too slow, describing the progress as moving at a snail's pace, which he warns is not sitting well with members of the JTA.
There is a need for us to become very creative in tabling solutions. I'm not particularly relatively impressed with the progress we have made. With negotiation, JTA was the first union at the table. We were the first ones to formally engage in negotiations with the government, and it has moved at this pace of cold molasses running uphill. I find that there's probably a lack of creativity on the part of many of our technocrats to solve the problems that we face, and what they've put on the table, our salary and negotiations team flatly rejected, which was 7.5%. That would have been zero increase in the first year, which of course is untenable. When young people look at teaching and they hear the stories and see teachers struggling, it is not something that's going to inspire them to want to get in, because you're really not earning enough over the period to adequately provide that level of buffer that will be needed. There has been reform regarding pensions with the contributions we're now asked to make, but I think there is work that has to be done for those that would be outside of that adjustment. Dr. Kevin Brown, President of University of Technology, we had discussions around the fact that their teacher program is really below the number of individuals they're expecting to recruit. And as I started picking up the phone and calling others, the narrative was much the same. Expect more to be leaving out in September. Now, I know there are some people that say, oh, what's going on with Trump is going to stop. It's not stopping the teachers because they're still having the pressures. What has happened is that the U.S. has also had some issues in terms of their ability to recruit teachers, and there's been a significant decline in number of individuals choosing education to pursue as a course of study. And so that's putting pressure on us. We have a similar situation in the United Kingdom, other jurisdictions. That will ultimately be a dynamic that will undercut our wonderful macroeconomic numbers that we're looking at. In order to sustain and translate into greater growth, we have to tackle the issue of productivity, which is a human development issue, and education is at the core of that transformation.
Dr. Smith was speaking at the JTA Golden Torch Awards 2025 last week. JBN will keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.